Listen carefully. Your wife doesn't need lipstick stains or late-night calls. She only needs 5 apps you'll never notice. They sit on her phone disguised as calculators, notes, or productivity tools, while you scroll past them every day. Like this video, subscribe and comment your city, because the first app is already hiding in plain sight. Men always think betrayal will announce itself with perfume on a shirt or a missing weekend bag. Wrong. The modern wife doesn't risk cliches. She builds her cover inside apps you'll never question. You glance at her screen. You see a calculator, a notes icon, maybe a new productivity tool. You shrug, but behind those icons live vaults of photos, second phone numbers, unsent messages, waiting in drafts. I've watched women rename these apps yoga timer, meal planner, even budget tracker. Their husbands never asked once. Why? Because it all looked normal, routine, harmless. That's the trap. The danger isn't what you notice. It's what feels too boring to notice. And here's the part men miss most. These apps don't just hide evidence. They rewire her story. They create end zones, excuses, airtight alibis. You're not paranoid. You're just searching in the wrong places. But guilt isn't the most dangerous signal. The organized ones, the ones who plan every icon and every excuse, they're colder. And their secrets begin with app number 1. Let's start with the most common disguise, the so-called calculator vault. You've probably seen one and never thought twice. It looks like math homework on her screen. Harmless, even boring. But tap the right code, and that icon becomes a door, a vault, a second gallery, a parallel life. The first mask is the most innocent-looking of all, the calculator. A little grey icon, some numbers, a plus sign. You've seen it 1,000 times. You probably even used it once or twice to split a dinner bill. But here's the truth. That calculator may not be a calculator at all. It may be her vault, her lockbox, the doorway to her second life. Listen carefully. Every phone already comes with a default calculator. So why does she need another one? That's your first red flag. The second one is usage. Check the logs. You'll see hours of activity, but no calculation saved, no history of use. That's not math. That's camouflage. These vault apps look boring on the outside, but unlock with a code. She types a calculation, something like 4269 or 123123. To you, it looks like a quick multiplication. To her, it's a secret password. And when it unlocks, the screen flips into a hidden gallery. Photos, videos, even contacts with custom icons. A husband once told me, I thought she was just calculating bills. She'd smile when the phone buzzed, tap her calculator, and quickly swipe out. He thought she was being responsible. Months later, he learned that the calculator held screenshots of hotel confirmations and a renamed contact card, stored under the disguise of Excel tutorial. Another man noticed the app move on her home screen. It shifted from the 3rd row to the 1st row overnight. He didn't think twice. But ask yourself, who reorganizes apps at midnight? That wasn't tidying up. That was positioning her vault where she could reach it quickly, even in a crowded room. One wife bragged to her friends that her husband would sometimes use her phone to calculate gas mileage on the Vault app. He never once unlocked the truth because he never thought to hit the right code. He looked straight at betrayal and saw math problems. That's the genius of disguise. It uses your assumptions against you. Here's your coaching lesson. Men miss this because they don't think like hiders. They think hiding means deleting or sneaking. Number. The smartest wives hide in plain sight. They use an app you'll never suspect because the brain registers calculator as harmless. You never look twice. Want to know how to spot it? Pay attention to behavior. Does she guard her calculator like it's her wallet? Does she exit quickly after tapping numbers? Does the app drain more battery than simple math should? Does she get nervous if you pick up her phone when that app is open? These aren't coincidences. They're signals. And here's the darkest part. These apps can vanish. She can delete it in seconds. When you check her phone, the vault is gone. When she's alone again, she reinstalls it, logs in, and the entire gallery reloads from the cloud, like nothing ever happened. You're not paranoid. You're just not trained to look at the ordinary as dangerous, because betrayal doesn't always wear red lipstick. It sometimes wears a calculator icon. And that's the first mask, the one most men never notice, the one that hides photos, contacts, and stories inside an app you see every day. But don't relax yet, because some wives don't just hide pictures, they hide entire conversations, entire phone numbers. The second number app is her second phone, hidden in plain sight. And here's the dirty truth. She doesn't need to buy a burner anymore. One icon on her screen gives her an entire double life. These apps create a new phone number, a new ID, even a new voicemail box. Imagine it. While you're looking at her normal messages, another set of conversations lives underground, complete with a different ringtone, different notification pattern, different history. And unless you know where to look, you'll never even know it exists. Let me give you a gossip detail. One husband told me his wife had a contact named Dentist. She claimed it was for quick reminders about her cleanings, but that dentist called twice a week, never during office hours. Try midnight, try Sunday mornings. Unless a dentist does emergency fillings on Easter Sunday, that's no dentist. Another case? She told her husband she hated Telegram, said it was too messy, but buried 3 swipes deep in her phone was a clone app. It had a different icon, a different name. From the outside, it looked like a boring docs folder. But inside, chat logs that told the real story. Here's what most men miss: battery drain. She complains her phone dies faster, but Safari and Messages show barely an hour of use. Where's the rest of that battery going? Straight into that second number app that erases its own footprints. And notice this, she's suddenly protective about who calls her. She snaps, "It's just work," when her screen lights up. Or she says, "Oh, that's spam," when a number flashes you've never seen before. But the tone in her voice? That's not annoyance, it's panic disguised as casual. Coaching lesson: don't waste time demanding her password. Watch her rhythms. Midnight buzzes, double notifications, apps that don't belong. These apps are built to pass for normal, to make you feel crazy when you question them. And the coldest trick? She can uninstall it in 2 taps. When you glance at her phone, it's gone. Later, when she's alone, she reinstalls it, and the entire chat history reloads from the cloud, like it never left. That's the genius and the poison of these apps. You're not paranoid. You're staring at the wrong layer. She doesn't need to hide her whole phone anymore. She just needs to hide one extra icon. What if she doesn't even need an app to send messages at all? What if the conversations sit quietly, unsent, untouched, hiding where you'd never look? That's the next trick, and it's colder than anything you've seen so far. The third mask is the one almost no man suspects, because it looks too boring to matter. No flashy icons, no secret vaults, just drafts, just notes, just work stuff. And that's exactly why it works. Women who don't want to risk being caught sending messages don't send them at all. They hide them in places you'd never think to look. Email drafts, shared notes, cloud folders. To you, it looks like she's organizing. In reality, she's running a second conversation right under your nose. Here's how it works. She types a message, saves it as a draft, and never presses send. Later, he logs into the same account, reads it, deletes, and writes his own reply, also saved as a draft. No notifications, no delivery receipts. Nothing appears in the inbox or outbox. To you, the account looks clean, but inside, it's a diary of betrayal. One husband told me his wife's Gmail was suspiciously quiet. No new emails, no sent messages for weeks. But the drafts folder updated daily, always around 2:17 p.m. That was the exact time she claimed she was stuck on a client call. He thought she was preparing work proposals. He didn't realize those proposals were unsent love notes, waiting for someone else to read. Another wife used the Notes app. She locked one note with a password and titled it Groceries. Inside weren't apples and bread. It was months of coded conversations. Whole paragraphs laced with emojis, private jokes, meeting times. Her husband laughed once, saying, "You're so organized." He had no idea he was complimenting her cover. A man stumbled on his wife's shared Google Doc. It was called Holiday Plans. He opened it, expecting to see ideas for their next trip. Instead, it was a live chat log, lines of text written, erased, and rewritten in real time. She told him she was researching flights. She was writing messages he was never meant to see. Here's your coaching lesson. The most dangerous tricks aren't the flashy ones. They're the silent ones. If her drafts folder is bloated, if her notes suddenly need a password, if a cloud document updates at midnight while she's asleep, that's not routine. That's rehearsal. And notice the behavior. She gets jumpy if you scroll too far in her Notes app. She laughs too quickly when you ask about why a grocery list needs a lock. She acts overly casual when you question why her draft folder is full of half-written sentences. These aren't accidents. They're rehearsed reactions. Why do men miss it? Because it feels harmless. Nobody expects betrayal to live in the same folder as shopping lists or half-written work emails. But that's the genius. It's so ordinary, so boring, that your eyes skip right over it. The coldest part? These messages never trigger a sound, never light up her screen. They sit silently, waiting. You could hold her phone in your hand, and the second life would still be there. Quiet, invisible, untouched. You're not paranoid. You're learning that silence isn't safety, it's strategy. Some wives don't even bother with drafts. They use private browsers and hidden folders that wipe themselves every single night. No drafts, no notes, no leftovers, nothing. And that's the fourth mask, and it's colder than all the rest. It doesn't just hide or disguise. It erases. It makes the trail vanish like it never existed. And that's why so many men fall for it. Most husbands think, if I'm suspicious, I'll just check her browser history. Wrong. That's exactly what she wants you to think, because the history is spotless, empty, clean, too clean. And clean history isn't loyalty, it's surgery. Private browsers are built for one purpose, to leave nothing behind, no cookies, no search terms, no timestamps. It's like she never touched the internet at all. Add hidden folder apps, and suddenly, every file, every image, every conversation is tucked into a digital basement you don't even know exists. A husband once told me his wife's battery drained twice as fast as usual. He checked her Safari history, 20 minutes of use. That was it. But the battery tab told a different story. Nearly 2 hours every day on an app called Zen Surf, with a soft blue wave as its icon. He thought it was a meditation app. It wasn't. It was a private browser with a wipe clean function that erased everything the moment she closed it. Another wife had a folder in her Files app labeled Travel Receipts. Harmless, right? Except it required a second passcode. And inside weren't receipts at all, but hundreds of hidden images, screenshots, PDFs, and archived messages. Her husband thought she was organizing tax paperwork. She was organizing hotel records he was never meant to see. One woman bragged to a friend that her husband had actually used her phone to look up directions, on the same private browser she used for her second life. He thought it was Chrome. He didn't realize she had swapped the icons, renamed the app, and hidden her tracks with a single setting. He was staring straight at the evidence and thought it was just GPS. Coaching lesson: don't just look for what's there. Look for what doesn't add up. A phone that charges twice a day but shows no heavy usage. That's a red flag. A browser history that's completely blank on a phone used every hour. That's not loyalty. That's a digital erase button. A Files app that suddenly asks for a password. That's not an update. It's a wall. The psychology is just as sharp. Clean history makes you feel crazy. You see nothing, so you tell yourself you're imagining things. That's the trick. She doesn't even have to lie. She lets the emptiness do the lying for her. And the more spotless it looks, the more guilty you feel for doubting her. That's how she wins twice. Some of these apps don't live on the surface at all. They're buried inside another app, nested menus, disguised icons, even disguised system tools. Unless you know the exact tap sequence, you'll never see it. She could open it in front of you and you wouldn't even notice. That's not just hiding, that's engineering invisibility. You're not paranoid. You're up against software that was literally designed to gaslight you. It wipes, it erases, it disguises. It convinces you that silence equals safety. But silence is the biggest red flag of all. The fifth mask doesn't just erase or hide, it transforms. It takes betrayal and dresses it up as spreadsheets, invoices, budgets, things so boring you'd never think to question them. And that's the cruelest trick of all. What if the evidence isn't locked at all? What if it's sitting in front of you, camouflaged as spreadsheets, invoices, receipts, and productivity tools? You open the file, your brain goes boring, and you close it. Meanwhile, that one boring folder is her shield. A husband told me his wife suddenly became obsessed with tracking every dollar. She downloaded a shiny new invoicing app, spent hours typing, exporting, color coding. He thought she was being responsible. Months later, while fixing her laptop, he clicked open one file. It wasn't expenses. It was an archive of messages, word-for-word transcripts renamed as Utilities 2024.pdf. Every line timestamped, every photo renamed gasbill.png. He thought she was budgeting. She was curating her double life in plain sight. Another man swore his wife had become the queen of productivity. Charts, graphs, tidy folders. She'd flash her phone and laugh. See? I'm getting my life together. He praised her discipline. Only later did he notice the graphs were generic templates auto-generated by the app. The real content lived underneath. Hotel confirmations, disguised images, PDF scans of receipts for dinners that never included him. Do you see the cruelty here? Vaults and secret numbers create distance, but disguise apps twist loyalty into something invisible. They make betrayal look like responsibility. She's not hiding something, she's managing the budget. She's not secretive, she's organized. That's the psychology. She makes you feel small for even asking. What? You don't trust me to handle our finances? You don't want me to be efficient? She flips the script so you're apologizing while the evidence sits 2 clicks away. Pay attention to sudden obsessions. A wife who never cared about spreadsheets is suddenly documenting every kilometer, every receipt, every bill. That's not budgeting, it's burying. A woman who hated apps is now downloading invoice trackers, PDF scanners, budget widgets. That's not efficiency, it's encryption. And here's the dirtiest trick. Many of these apps allow her to rename files on export. She can take a chat log and relabel it car_repair.pdf. She can rename images from hotel rooms into insurance_photos.png. You'll open the folder, glance and think, just bills. But you won't scroll. Because no man scrolls through fake budgets. Remember this, disguises aren't meant to hide from the police. They're meant to hide from you, from the person closest to her. Because if you believe her productivity streak, you stop asking questions. And if you stop asking questions, the machine runs forever. You're not paranoid. You're fighting camouflage. The betrayal isn't locked away. It's renamed, reformatted, dressed up in spreadsheets and charts. And here's the final coaching punch. Don't be distracted by appearances of responsibility. Don't let guilt silence you when your gut screams. If the habits don't match her history, if the effort doesn't match her character, then you're not looking at a new woman. You're looking at a disguise. Because the truth is brutal. These apps don't just protect her. They rewire your reality. They take the ugliest evidence and turn it into the most boring thing in the world. Numbers, spreadsheets, receipts. And that's why it slips past you.